The text that I use for this, the thinking for this talk, came out of Romans 12, verses 1 and 2, where it talks about how we can know God's good, perfect will for our lives. And one of the things that that verse says is that we're to be transformed. We're to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And I looked at the word transformed and kind of did a word study a little bit and found out that that word comes from the word metamorphosis. And of course, when we think of the word metamorphosis, we think of something like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And it's a physical transformation where it changes from one being into another being. And so it's to be completely changed when we are transformed. It also makes me think of the word that's used in Matthew and Mark, where it's a little different word, where we see Jesus is transfigured. And when Jesus was transfigured on the Mount of Transfiguration, he was changed outwardly, and his whole countenance, he glowed, and there was such a heavenly countenance about him. But it was an outward transformation. It's a different word because it was a transfiguration. This word, that's transformation, isn't an outward change for us, it's an inward change. And we're changed then from the inside out. And in Romans 12:2, it says the way that we are transformed is by the way that is the word, the renewing of our minds. And so our minds need to be renewed if we're going to be transformed. And Paul doesn't really speak of it in Romans 12:2, what that renewing is, how that actually happens. But in all of his writings, what we find is Paul speaks a great deal about the study of the Word of God and prayer. Those two things really, for those two things, there really is no substitute. We have to be in the Word of God and in prayer if we want to have renewed minds so that we can be transformed.